Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today, and this time we're going to be looking at Squirtle, of course, the final faction that I needed to take a look at out of the 5. Anyway, I've been playing a lot of different kinds of Squirtle decks, a bit of Dana, a bit of Ithne, a bit of Brouver, and I have found Brouver to be probably the most successful deck of all the ones that I've tried. Doesn't mean the others aren't playable or viable in some way, but Brouver I was having some success with. The others, not really so much, to be perfectly honest. But this is the deck I finally ended up, playing for the majority of yesterday. And it was pretty damn good, I gotta say. So, what does the deck involve? Well, it's pretty much just a control Brouver list. What does that mean? Well, it means you're not really playing very many engines. In fact, Okvist is pretty much the only one if you can count it as an engine. And yeah, the deck is using a lot of control tools effectively. I guess Circe is also an engine, I should say, but apart from that, there's not really anything. And yeah, you're just using a bit of carryover from Ithlin, from the Dwarven Agitators, from Circe as well. God, I always call this Sarissa by accident. Circe, that's the one. Anyway, you've got the hand buff for carryover later on in the game. You have long round value with crushing traps to crush a whole row with your Brouver leader ability to synergize with that, of course. And you have Okvist, which you can often buff up with Circe for that long round potential as well. Rest of the deck is just control tools. It's a bit of damage here and there. Things like the Sheldon, of course, is a nice finisher as well, as giving a bit of removal value. Ike is there for tool units. Sometimes you're going to have to mulligan him away. You've got Melaine, Regis, and Ifrit all for 4 damage pings to really deal with any engine decks you're against. Archer to potentially set up a death blow for Circe, or just as a nice 5-drop. Volunteers for the thinning, Dragoon, synergize with Crushing Trap, and the Dwarves, of course, are not bad when you're playing Volunteers. Cutthroat's kind of a nice inclusion, I think, at 4 provisions. There's not really that much else that's great in Squirtle, and this guy's pretty reliably 5 for 4, with a little bit of damage potential. It might be worth running the Oxenfurt Scholar instead of him, because it gives you immediate value, but I haven't really played around with it much. I think the Cutthroat's fine, but yeah, Ciaran is also a lock in there, so pretty much this deck is just got a lot of answers to a lot of things, and it's playing kind of point slammy, kind of control-y, trying to remove a lot of engines from the opponent, not play any yourself particularly, but to get a bit of long round value from the traps and from Okvist in round 3. So all in all, a pretty decent deck. I was trying to make Dana and stuff work. Dana's probably still okay, but there's already been quite a few people trying her out and making decks for her, so I figured Brouver was the one I would give a go. Anyway, let's jump into a game or two and see how this deck plays. Alright, the first opponent going to be an Anna. Anna's quite popular, it seems like, even though I don't think she's the strongest leader, maybe a tier 2 one at best. Brouver, I'm not sure where he lies on the tier scale, where he will lie in the future, maybe a tier 2 leader as well. Hard to tell right now. Anyway, we've got quite a lot of crushing traps. We could get rid of one this round if we don't want to play both. This game, or we don't want to play one in round 1. Often want to save one for round 3, of course. Ike would be quite good with tactical advantage on their side, so pretty happy about that one. Dragoon, whatever, it's okay with crushing traps. Let's maybe mulligan an Agitator, since we don't have any dwarves in hand, and a crushing trap.
You're but a step from the hangman's block. Beware.
Oh, I see. Gonna mute Anna. Don't want to be distracted. Gotta think long and hard about the plays, of course. So, how are we going to deal with this guy? We could just ping it with Archer and then Circe, but it looks like they're going to give us a nice, juicy Ike target. Very good. Great way to start the round off for us. So let's take it. Why not? Don't really have any other play we want to go with. Cutthroat is, of course, a good play in this round. Kind of a bad card later on, but, pretty solid round 1 filler card to just get out of your hand. Unfortunately, we don't have Gimpy for these lads, but we can just play Cutthroat now, I think. Get the bleeding going and potentially use Circe on that unit as well, should we need to. You're not going to get as much harmony value from this deck as you would something like Dana, so the harmony on the Circe is not really that important. Mainly just using her to get the extra kind of, points and carryover for later. Okay, I'd quite like to play the Archer, I think, to get 2, units that we can then hit with Circe, so let's do that now. In fact, it might have been better to hit these 2, but I don't want to give slave inventory too much value if that's the thing that can come down, which it is. So we'll hit these. I'm sure there'll be another unit we can probably hit with Skirmisher at some stage. Alright, Sursa is now available for, to us. So let's take it. And we'll buff the dragon, of course, get some immune value there. Going to be able to proc Harmony potentially with the dwarf, not much else. Already have an elf on the board. So, yeah, as I said, the Harmony value isn't too powerful in this deck. But that's okay. You're kind of using this just for the carryover and the points mainly. Let's get the dwarf out of the hand. It's pretty bad. We can kill the roach. A little bit far behind in points, but that's alright. I think if we have to, we'll play the dragon to take it here. Yeah, we might have to do that. We've got Gregoire. Surprisingly, a couple of, big units that we could have hiked, but we've got the value on that, so I'm not too worried. Infiltrator, alright. That does get really nicely removed by Dragoon, so we're going to use it, I think. Just get value from that card, and still taking it with Dragon if we have to. Don't really need to, hang on to this card too much. It's maybe a bit of a shame if we lose the 2 carryover on it, but apart from that, whatever. We're really relying on those crushing traps for the long round, of course, and Okvist and Sheldon, of which, we don't have a couple of those right now, but can definitely try to draw into them. One problem with this deck is it doesn't have too much thinning. Only volunteers is a little bit on the sketchy side of things. It might even be better to, go Ithne if you're after thinning. I think that's probably the case. We could even use a Brouver charge along with something else, but I think playing the dragon's okay here. Do manage to take round 1, which is nice. And typically, there's not much artifact removal going on from Anna. She could take our Ida and use that against us, but as long as we kind of make sure we don't keep her in hand come the time for that to happen, then we should be okay. Let's get rid of Ciaran, I think. I'm really just looking for Sheldon right now, because we have that Ithlin. We need to pass here to get the card. So let's do that, and then, yeah, we really want to find, something that Ithlin can get big value to. That Sheldon would be great. Maybe mulliganing Ciaran isn't too amazing for us, but oh well. Okay, not terrible cards here. We got the Ciaran back. Let's get rid of the Agitator because it's pretty terrible right now. Double Crushing Trap might not be a bad thing with the Brouver, of course. So we'll get rid of Cutthroat as well. Oh no, dead Agitator in hand. That's pretty bad news. Pretty unlucky as well. But okay, we can keep that in hand and have it as like a kind of a brick for the opponent to take with that Anna. Let's start things off with Ithlin, I think. Then again, Ithlin's another card that, pretty bad for the opponent to steal. Let's boost the Agitator. We want to play around Leo a little bit, if possible. And we'll see where we go from there. Probably want to play the Mullane, the Regis and whatnot a bit, as early as we can. Oh, Shilla, that's kind of painful. Very weak card in hand with the Agitator, but, it's probably okay. Let's go ahead and damage this Knight. We don't want to kill units, because that's going to minimize Crushing Trap value if we do. And, the opponent can maybe take a Crushing Trap, but if they do, we've got Ida to respond. There's going to be a bit of a weird kind of back and forth going on there, I guess. We don't want to play a Crushing Trap before we play Ida, but, it's also a bit risky if we don't, I guess. Let's go ahead and play that Mullane then. We might need this removal, but we've got the lock to deal with, lockable targets, so that hopefully shouldn't be a problem. Just going to try to... oh, and there's a Petri's Filter for Ida, perfect. Can use that to deny Damien. And now our Crushing Traps are... yeah, they're going to hurt us if they get stolen with Anna, but we can deal with that Damien, so it's definitely worth it, I think, for us. We can also move our guys out of Crushing Trap if the opponent goes for it, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. Okay, so we could probably actually play both our Crushing Traps early, just to kind of make sure the opponent doesn't get them and get big value from them. So we're going to try to do that, I think. Play one Crushing Trap now. So we know Serret and Orcs are in the hand, and then presumably Damien and something else. Want to lock that Damien for sure. Agitator in hand is very bad news, but we'll see if we can make it through. If we can brick the Anna pretty hard here, then we'll be in a good spot to do that. Okay. There's Damien, so we do have to kind of lock that unless we want to Gimpy now. We could do that as well. Kind of don't mind Gimpying. Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. Ah, this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one. Ciaran definitely finds value there, but I think we'll take the Gimpy. Yeah. Maybe it's wrong to do that. Maybe it is wrong to do that. I mean, we can't let the Damien go off for sure, right? So probably Ciaran is fine. Yeah, I think Ciaran's okay. They can take Gimpy if they want. They probably won't though, right? And then using one leader can't really go wrong here, so we'll do that. One leader charge. Hit that row with the crushing trap. So Anna's worth, you know, 8 points potentially if we don't want to move our own units here. Which is quite a bit. It's definitely not too weak. And we know Orcs and Serret in hand as well. So the question is, what is the last card? And will it be good enough? We definitely are sad that we have that Agitator in hand. That's not good news at all. But, you know, we've still got our leader charges available, so it might not be the end of the world. We'll see. See what they've got. It might be worth using one leader charge here, just to save a bit of our strength. I think I'm going to go for that. Is it worth it? Yeah. Can't not be worth it, right? Dead Agitator! Uh-oh! Uh-oh. But it might not be over yet. We'll save some strength there. We know Orcs is a card, so we're trading up on that with Gimpy. And Orkvist is one as well. No! So there was a target for our Ciaran. We maybe should have saved stuff for that. Okay, that going off is definitely quite nasty. We'll see if it's enough. I think it probably is for the opponent. He did play into Crushing Trap there a little bit though, so... Do we have what it takes? I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do. It's close though, isn't it? Oh, tied game. Damn. Okay, well, we could have actually probably won that by gimpying the Damien and then saving Ciaran for Orkvist, but that's a pretty hard one to call. Maybe not even, because we would have had to manually flip the trap and whatnot. Damn, that got a bit hectic. Definitely Agitator being dead there was not ideal. Let's jump into another one and see if we can actually win this time. Okay, we're going to be up against Dana. We'll see who the better Squirtle leader is, I suppose. What have we got here then? We can potentially drop Cutthroat. I don't mind having one in round one. Agitator doesn't look too hot. We don't have Sheldon, but you know, it might not be terrible either. Playing onto Volunteers and then pulling Volunteers out is always not too shabby. Let's go to Cutthroat then. And another Cutthroat to replace him. Crushing Trap might be a mulligan. I think we can get rid of it. Okay, I guess we can start pretty low tempo with the Agitator. Hopefully it'll be fine. On blue coins it's a bit risky, but we can protect the Dwarf and hopefully get Volunteers out, and then it's, you know, it's a 4-point play, which shouldn't be too low tempo really. Here. Maybe. Maybe. You never know. And again, they might have artifact removal in round 3. We'll see. We'll see. In fact, the last opponent didn't have any. What am I talking about? But Squirtle often does. So we'll see. Maybe an Ida or whatever. Like we have Ida. Right. Well, probably want to just kill that so we deny the Volunteers from the opponent, because we'd like to save Gimpy for fledglings that come out of Water of Broccolon rather than using them on Volunteers this round, if possible. Might not be possible, but maybe most likely we'll just let the Volunteers get out. I could have also used Sursa there. That might have been a better use of... yeah, probably would have been a better play, I guess. Panther for 3 points, though. Not great. Alright, Volunteers are out, and we're pretty damn far ahead in points. We want to buff Orkvist with Sursa here, probably. That would be really nice. As far as other plays go, is there anything we really would love to do? Not really. You know, I reckon we could just play an Ifrit if we want. Kind of wish I'd done the Sursa actually on that unit earlier. Whatever. Not the end of the world. Let's play one big tempo play. This will probably force the opponent out, I imagine. Maybe not. They'll continue, but they've been going pretty low tempo, especially with that Panther play. They might be a bit too far behind to push. I'd love to win the round if possible, so... Okay, that is looking like a Crushing Trap. We can deal with it with Ida. And I guess we want to do that.
The time of the white frost and
winning this round's pretty important, having last say and everything, and, you know, being able to maybe play Ithlin in round 2 here to get a buff onto Sheldon would be lovely. If we can draw him, which we weren't able to last game until, you know, it's too late. Alright, let's get rid of Cutthroats. No thank you. And we've got that Sheldon, very nice. So we can buff him up, have that nice finisher. I mean, just need to draw a Crushing Trap or 2 now. A little bit scary to keep them against Dana because they might have Ida. It's definitely worth considering, worth thinking about. Let's continue playing here, actually. Since we can get that Sursa value while it's hot, we can deny Volunteers, which is a play they might want to go with here. We can just bleed a tiny bit. Might not be worth it to really properly bleed, but we might even be able to get some kind of nice play from them. Some engine or whatever. We may be able to slip in a skirmisher play with the Sursa on board with the Harmony to get a bit of extra value, but unlikely. We'll see. Okay, so we actually can do it, and I think we do. It's a 6-point play, so we're probably far enough ahead that we won't be in trouble. And we can maybe just play more cards if we have to. In fact, it might have been better to give the hand buff to Sheldon. I'm not sure on that. Over Octfist, kind of a tricky one, right? Alright, so at this point we can probably pass on out of here. I don't see much reason to continue playing. We're going to just be mitigating our own trap value at that point. We'll take a pass now. But yeah, I think it's pretty important to protect Octfist, right? So putting it at 7 is probably okay. We might run into a lock, I suppose, for it, which would be really rough. But otherwise, I don't think we'll be in too much trouble. There's a Volunteer, so 1 buff went on him. There's another Dwarf buff and a Sursa buff. So 4 on Sheldon, potentially, making him the same strength as R1. Okay, double Dragoon, not really great. Agitator's okay because we're buffing Sheldon, right? Dragoon, again, not amazing. But we did draw a Crushing Trap, so that's quite nice, as long as there's no Ida in hand from the opponent. Or Sappers or whatever. To deal with it. That would be kind of unfortunate. Otherwise, I think we're looking pretty good here. We have Gimpy to deny Fledglings. Or at least to get, you know, big value on them. We have other removal tools to deal with Boar and other cards the opponent might have. Dana Leader's going to be pretty good. That's a pretty terrible Water of Broccolon play though, it must be said. Wow. Only pulling 1 Fledgling. Bit awkward. But, you know, Gimpy would have dealt with them anyway, so not the end of the world for the opponent, funnily enough. We could just lock that, I suppose, but I think Gimping it's fine. Unlikely we're going to run into, you know, multiple copies of units now that Volunteers aren't a thing and all that, so we can do that. And we can probably lock the Saskia, I think. We can lock the Saskia. We could also Cutthroat it and then Mullane or something like that, but I think locking it is fine. It's a pretty good lock target, right? Don't want that getting any value. No, thank you. Got enough removal here, thanks to this being a control deck, that we might be in good shape. That doesn't purify because you don't have a Dryad on board, my friend. I'm sorry to tell you this, but that is quite awkward for them. So we could throw out the Cutthroat and deny some of the Vitality. I don't think we need to, really. If we just throw the buff onto Sheldon now, should be good. So we're ahead and we're, you know, packing a really big Sheldon as a finisher. Octfist might die, but we can maybe play around their damage onto it with whatever they have, like Sheldon or, you know. If they're saving that card for last, then we can, you know, definitely not be too troubled by it. Milva is coming down late. Everything's gone wrong for this opponent. Safe to say, not ideal for them. Alright, Cutthroat looking good on the Triumph board. We can wait until Saskia gets to a 9 to kill it with Sheldon. And in the meantime, we can Mullane to kill this, I think. Not too bad. And it's going to be a bit weird here. We're going to have to play like a Crushing Trap. You know. at a weird time, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Crushing Trap next, maybe. Maybe we don't actually kill the Sasuke, we just let it get bigger and bigger, whatever. We won't lose too much from that, I don't think. I'm going to kill that ball, though, before it gets a couple of extra points. A dead Fov as well, oh man. Not going well for the opponent. I think we would have been good, even without that being the case, but it's pretty nice to see still, so... We'll probably use one Brouver charge to line up the Crushing Trap, I think. We could use two if we're not worried about Ocvis dying. But I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, their Sheldon is a 9, right? Is it a 9 or is it 7? It's a 7, I think. Okay, so in that case we're totally fine, right? Unless I'm being dumb. I think it's a 9. Either way, I mean, we're gonna have a ton of points, so we're probably okay. I think Ocvis will survive. I'm not sure. Maybe I miscalculated there somewhere. No, I think I'm spot on. We're ahead in points right now. Yeah, it's a 7-point Sheldon. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like we're gonna manage to take the opponent out. It's kind of close, even considering how many bad cards they had. But either way, we'll take that. Not a good round 3 from the opponent. And I don't know how good this deck or for Dana or whatever is. Scoia'tael in general is a bit tricky to make work. I think Dana might be the way to go, but yeah, maybe I'll try it in the future a little bit more than I already have. Brouver though, I think it's okay. It's solid. It's not the best, but there's definitely a way you can play Scoia'tael. It might even get better with time. Who knows? Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.